Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. We are moving on into 2022, continuing to work through these stories of Ray Bradbury. In this collection, we are up to story number 37 of 100. Today's story is from 1948, and it is entitled Powerhouse. Brief synopsis. A woman is riding by horseback through the Arizona desert with her husband, �bræddi. Before they mention that it's Arizona, it's Bradbury, you have to assume that maybe it's Mars, but it's not. This is a very down-to-earth story. But she's received a telegram that her mother is sick and possibly dying, so they are riding into town to catch a train to go visit her before she dies. As they ride, she ponders that she's never had any reason for religion in her life and that she's never sort of caught the bug. The bug caught religion, as she says it. �bræddi tells her that, this is not a thing that you can catch, but she's surprised because they've been together for 20 years and she sort of acquired a lot of his other traits and sort of become more like him, as couples tend to do as they spend decades together. But along the way, a rainstorm forces them to take refuge in what they describe as a powerhouse. This is some sort of electrical building along the power lines. It seems to have generators and turbines and things in it. Maybe it's generating it from, hydroelectric or something. It's not really made clear, but it is a powerhouse. And that night, as it rains outside and they lay there and she can't sleep, she sort of eventually does wander off. And she imagines that her sort of electrical current sort of pass out through the lines, and they sort of get distributed out through the tributaries of the power lines through the worlds into people's houses, into other corners of the world, and into other communities. And she basically sees herself sort of passing through these veins, these new veins that are electrical lines that have now sort of come into the world while she and her husband are still riding horses. It's undeniable that the modern world has finally arrived. The next morning, she wakes up, she's feeling more confident and more assured of herself than ever, and she basically is a new woman, and she's found God in a way. That's what she was looking for in this time of need, when people sort of go looking for God when something bad happens. And she asked her husband if perhaps they could come here again some other time, possibly on a Sunday morning when many other people would be in church. So, as I was saying, when you read Bradbury stories, you expect it could be Mars when you're riding through a desert, but no, this was in fact a very down-to-earth story set in Arizona. Obviously, early in the 20th century, perhaps, maybe late 19th, when electrical lines are starting to enter the world. There's telegrams, obviously, because she has been given a telegraph. But their sort of old world of horse riding is now indeed clashing with the new world of technology. It's a cool story. I love the idea that we are interconnected by our electrical lines, and there's this great correlation between the electricity of technology and also our own human bodies, because it's often said that we're just electrical. All we are is electrical impulses. And in a more blatantly science fiction story, you would often see cases of people's consciousness allegedly being downloaded into computers, and that's something that actually people working on today. And so there is this connection between our technology and ourselves, and I love it as a sort of device or a metaphor here by Bradbury for the way we are increasingly connected to one another in the world. Now it's cell phones, and that's sort of on display very subtly here in this story from 1948. Bradbury himself, must have witnessed a lot of these changes in the world, given his age. But I really like what he did here. These people who are finding themselves on the cusp of the modern world, looking for faith, and her husband has it, she doesn't. She's never sort of seen the need for it. She's never caught it, as she says, but somehow sort of laying there at night and sort of looking at the electrical system as sort of a metaphor, she sort of acquires religion. And that's interesting too, because, before Bradbury was writing this, or after Bradbury was writing this, we've also connected ourselves, through this technology. we acquire information, and you can even, if you're looking for religion, you can even acquire information about religion online via electrical impulses. So it's all very much still relevant here today, although we are in the first week of 2022, and Bradbury was writing way back in 1948. All right, guys, that is my review, my thoughts on Powerhouse from 1948, Stories of Ray Bradbury. That was the 37th story of 100. Next up is, where is it? Hail and Farewell from 1948 as well. So be sure to tune in for that. As always, subscribe, and I will see you again soon.